Hey guys, welcome to Cheesecake Chats. Let's eat cheesecake and chat about life. First things first, today we have this chocolate tuxedo cream cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory. And I have to be honest, guys, this one was a little disappointing. Don't get me wrong, it has a nice flavor, but it was a little bland. If you are looking for a simple, light chocolate cheesecake, then check it out. I'll stick with a 7 out of 10 for this one. So, I asked my husband what I should chat about today, and he suggested I talk about this really weird landlord I had in Hawaii, who we not so affectionately call Glitter Man. That kind of unlocked a bunch of memories of my time living there, so I'm going to go through some of those. So like I said, this was when I lived in Hawaii, and I had moved into this duplex. The landlord was pretty nice, and he even offered to drop my rent by $500 because the house had some problems. One day, I noticed my cat staring very intently at the ceiling. And guys, this girl was born feral, so when she got a certain look in her eyes, I just knew she was on the hunt. I followed her gaze, and sure enough, there was a giant rat sticking its rear end out of a hole in my ceiling. Glitterman said he'd send someone out, but he never did. And that rat is probably still thriving there. You know who else is probably still there? The substance dealer who lived in a shack behind the house. He was definitely not mentioned on the Zillow listing. I kept noticing this guy walking right by my house and heading up this little footpath. So one day I waited until I was sure he was gone and I walked up there. I was in like a rainforesty area, so the path was pretty overgrown and kind of creepy looking. And after a couple of minutes, I find this shack that the guy had clearly been living in. And I am not exaggerating. This wasn't like a tiny house. This was an honest-to-goodness shack. I looked around for a minute, but I was honestly terrified of the guy coming back, so I hightailed it out of there. And honestly, I was fine ignoring him for a while because he wasn't bothering me or anything. But then one day, he started blatantly selling stuff right in front of my house, and he never stopped. I did tell Glitterman about this, but they were buddies, so he just let it slide. For a long time, the other half of the duplex was empty, but eventually these two girls moved in. They were dating and super nice, at least to me. Unfortunately, they were not nice to each other. I'd hear them screaming at all hours, and a couple of times they got in actual fights, like true knockdown, drag-out brawls. I almost called the police on multiple occasions, but the fights never lasted long. And then, of course, they would make up after the fights. And the walls were thin, my friends. The walls were very thin. Eventually, they moved out, and Glitterman started doing some work on their unit to make it more appealing for renters. I'd kind of had enough by that point, so I told him I'd be moving out as well. And all of a sudden, he started sending me these flirty texts, which I thought was wild because he had 3 kids, and as far as I knew, he was still with their mom. I never sent him anything flirty back, but that did not stop him. One day he asked if he should bring some champagne over to celebrate me moving out. I told him no and that I was not much of a partier. He said he thought I'd be fun at a party and offered to bring the glitter. And thus, Glitterman was born. I don't know what he meant by that. I don't want to know what he meant by that. I moved out and never looked back. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing the lore of Glitterman. I post new Cheesecake Chats twice a week, so make sure you give me a like and a follow so you don't miss an episode. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope everybody out there has a lovely day and that you all find something that makes your life feel just a little bit sweeter. See you later. Bye.